Understanding the difference between healthy striving and perfectionism is critical to laying down the shield of picking up your life. Research shows that perfectionism hampers success. In fact, it's often the path to depression, anxiety, addiction, and life paralysis. This is from The Gift of Imperfection by Brené Brown. And today we are talking more about perfectionism and how we are affected by it. Welcome to Casa de Confidence, a podcast for you. You'll hear some incredible women
and some awesome, cool dudes
going confidently in the direction of their dreams and living in the purpose of their heart.
You're our host,
Julie DeLucca-Collins, and you are our sidekick. # handsome hot husband.
That again.
And the producer of the show.
That I am.
I am an author, speaker, coach, dreamer, and most of all,
we help people go in the direction of their dreams
and support them on their purpose. So pull up a chair,
grab a drink,
and make yourself at home because our casa
is your casa. Welcome back, or welcome to Casa de Confidence. This is Dan.
This is Julie and Simba.
Hey, Julie.
Yes, Dan.
I got to make an admission to everyone. That little intro that I've been doing for the last month or so, welcome back, or welcome to, I stole that.
Who'd you steal it from?
I stole it from someone with the same last name as me, actually. Someone who became famous on TikTok doing those little tiny baby hands.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
And then she went to YouTube.
She did?
And now she's a big YouTuber.
Oh, my goodness.
That would be Chris with a K, Chris Collins.
Oh, Chris Collins. Oh, yeah, that's that.
You might know her as Call Me Chris. So, but.
Yeah, she showed up in my algorithm the other day.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Very interesting. Very
just,
interesting.
I got to support the person that, has the same surname, right?
Welcome back or welcome to. I'm going to pay attention to that now because, now that you mentioned it, I am, going to be noticing that a lot more.
So Julie.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I was feeling peppy.
Peppy?
However, I don't know. We went out to lunch yesterday.
It was so nice to go out amongst other people yesterday.
Yes, we went out actually to be out.
Got to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Little, self and couple care.
Couple care.
Because we talk about self-care. How about couple care?
Couple care is important.
Especially for people who have children. We don't. But it's important to mention, you need couple care.
Couple care. Maybe we can trademark that phrase. Couple care.
Couple care.
You need self-care and then couple care. But listen, we were supposed to be going to this restaurant and the restaurant was not open. So we ended up going to this other restaurant, which I have lived here 12 years. And I think I walked into that restaurant. This is probably my third time there. And the second time I was there, I got incredible food poisoning. And yesterday,
we're not going to mention the name because a lot of people like this place.
A lot of people like it. One of my friends, actually, this is her favorite restaurant. But let me tell you, never going back there again. Maybe it's going to be another 12 years because...
Maybe it's just the one that we go to.
No, because I went to the other one that is downtown, and that's where I got the food poisoning.
Gotcha.
And every time I get food from there, not that I got food poisoning, I'm not saying I have food poisoning, but I definitely don't feel right.
And no, it's not Applebee's. I'll gladly talk crap about Applebee's.
God, Jesus, Dan.
I've never had. Maybe it's just the Applebee's up here.
Well, some people don't yuck somebody else's yum.
Because all the Applebee's up here have closed for a reason.
Hey, by the way, today's episode is an episode that I recorded with Dr. Natalie Luke, and she has a book called Unsealing Your Career at Any Age, and we had a wonderful conversation. She is a phenomenal individual, and her background in the conversation that we had really unpacks perfectionism.
What?
Perfectionism.
Oh, not Mr. Perfect. Because I was going to say you already have that.
Oh my God.
Talking about perfectionism. Okay.
Listen, in her book, she narrates about her career and overcoming hurdles and broadening, your horizon, especially as a woman in a male-dominated world, which I really was that person for so many years. And really one of the things that for me, I created a lot of anxiety in myself because I always felt I needed to be perfect.
Yeah.
So, do you think that you are a perfectionist, Daniel?
Do you think I'm a perfectionist?
Yes, I do. In multiple ways. Do you want me to unpack how?
Well, all right. I'll dive into perfectionism for a period of time until I just don't anymore.
Well,
I'm kind of an odd perfectionist, I think.
You're not your normal You're not the type of perfectionist like I am.
Well, no.
Because who do you think is a better perfectionist here?
A better perfectionist? Is this a competition?
Well, it always is with me.
It always is, because you're a perfectionist.
Okay, I'm going to tell you how I think you're not a perfectionist.
That I'm not, or that I am?
How you are a you are a perfectionist in some ways.
Okay,
and perhaps some of our listeners will see themselves in this conversation.
All right.
Okay. So unlike me, right, when I'm working on a project, I need to have that need to be perfect and go all in despite myself. And sometimes I end up, just detrimentally, not thinking of myself or giving myself credit or cheering myself. Whereas for you, you're a perfectionist in which you either decide that, I'm just going to do it, but then no, I need to do this before I do that. So you kind of get caught in that. Like, I need to have all these things in place before I do that. And sometimes you just need to kind of just do the thing and then make it better as you go along. Can I give you an example of that?
Go ahead.
I was thinking about our basement.
Okay.
You know how when you got the shelves and all that other, like the table and stuff?
Yeah.
So you put it together. It took a while, but you did it. Congratulations. Good job. Proud of you. However, you didn't want to put it where it would have normally gone because you needed to do the whatever thing you were going to do to the walls.
Right.
So then you put the thing in the middle of the room, in the middle of the basement. And then because it was sort of like in this weird place, things accumulated. So then now the wall hasn't been done. This is not a bad on you, Dan. I was just kind of making this observation. But
I'm in.
The wall did not get done. Then the thing is in the way, and now things have been piled on the thing. So now the whole basement is like a
I just want to hear you. What if things done around it?
What?
What if things done around?
Like things have been piled on it.
Like, what was that word you were trying to use?
I don't know. What was the word?
Accumulated?
Accumulated.
I just wanted to hear you try again.
Really? What did I say? I said accumulated.
I don't know. You said accumulated.
I did not.
Okay, guys, rewind.
Okay.
Anyway,
but
sorry.
I'm just saying, do you not agree that that's kind of sometimes what happens to you?
No, absolutely.
Like you want to we can't do that because I'm going to need to do this first. Right. But if we had so in my brain, I was thinking, I wonder if we had just put the benches where they needed to be and maybe organize them the way they needed to be. I would have had
a bunch of rusty benches because of the wall.
Not necessarily because you didn't have to put them against the wall, but then that would have given you the urgency to say, hey, my benches are against the wall. I need to do the thing to the wall so that they don't get rusty.
Then I would be, gotcha.
See what I mean?
Gotcha what you mean.
Mm-hmm. So this is the same thing. Like I have a client who is launching a website and she's like, oh my God, we're not perfect. And I said, no, you need to launch it. And we launched it this week. And the reason that she launched it is because now it gives us kind of the urgency to go and fix it so that if it's not 100%, it continues to be a work in progress as opposed to a progress that never gets done on a project because it's just waiting for the right time, the right thing. And I think that happens to many of us. So there's no right way of being a non-perfectionist.
You know
it's
what?
just about trying.
I think you just figured me out. I'm going to claim I'm a perfectionist. Hi, Julie.
Yes.
My name's Dan, and I'm a perfectionist.
So here's
you know what?
What?
There's so many projects that I haven't gotten done because I'm a perfectionist.
But here's the thing.
No. I just thought about it.
I know you just thought about it.
A lot of stuff I haven't got started on. You know what I did get started on, though?
What?
My computers.
What? Say that again?
My computers.
What about them?
I built a computer for video editing.
You did?
I did get started on that. But you know why I haven't finished it?
Why?
Because I'm a perfectionist. Because I got a couple things I want to do. I want to do it right.
Right, because you want to do it right, and then you don't get to do it. And I think that this happens to many of us.
And now you keep tripping over my cables.
Listen, you're going to come to home from work, and I'm going to be dead with a broken neck on the floor because I have tripped so many times, almost daily, coming into the office because of your
I picked up the offending cable, though.
You picked up the one that was on my way to the desk, but not the situation you have underneath the window.
Well, that's my filing cabinet.
What?
That's my filing cabinet.
That is not a filing cabinet, but
this is a filing cabinet.
Well, okay.
Well, there's a bunch of other stuff around the filing cabinet. It has.
I don't even know there's a filing cabinet there.
She doesn't know there's a filing cabinet there
because
things are around it.
But
they've accumulated. I came back to it.
I got it.
Oh my!
Listen, I think that overall this episode is a really great listen, and I'm so grateful that people are tuning in. It is because of you being a part of this journey that individuals can change and have the right resources. And I'm so happy that people will have an opportunity to connect with Dr. Natalie Luke, who is an interdisciplinary PhD and a senior VP of clinical research. Her book is amazing, and I encourage you to check it out.
What's the name of the book?
Unsealing Your Career at Any Age. And you can download her the 12 steps to feeling confident right now. The must-have checklist to feeling confident. So excited to have Dr. Natalie Luke, her book, and her free gift for all of us.
Free gifts are awesome.
Absolutely. And the journey to confidence begins with embracing failure, the vision of a perfectionism, the power of self-advocacy, documenting our achievements, leveraging your unique journey, and making sure that you embrace and praise yourself for all of the work and the person that you are becoming.
All right. Now, Dr. Luke and Julie.
Here we are, another episode of Casa de Confidence. My friend, I'm so happy that you're joining us for this incredible episode. I've been looking forward to having our next guest here. She is someone that, again, has written a book, but more importantly, has done tons of research and work in so many different aspects of, again, large companies, speaking about career advancement, managing anxiety, some of the topics that we really like to unpack here. I feel that this conversation is going to really be able to give you some great nuggets that you can apply to your life and really begin to examine some of the things that can work for you while you're creating an impact in the lives of others. I am excited and grateful to have Dr. Natalie Luke here. She is an interdisciplinary PhD from the University of Missouri's Kansas City, who transitioned from teaching high school to vice president of clinical research at a diagnostic company. Welcome, Natalie, Dr. Luke. Welcome.
Thank you. And what I should tell you is I just got promoted to senior vice president.
Amazing. Well, congratulations. We got to
you.
celebrate that. How long since your promotion?
It's been about, I want to say 4 to 6 weeks.
Amazing. Oh, well, congrats. I know that that is a really great place to be. And again, you must feel, well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. How do you feel about the promotion?
I feel fantastic about
Mhm.
it. And what I will say is the way I got the promotion was
Mhm.
that I had 2 excellent reviews for 2 years in a row
Ooh.
and I was vice president. And during my review, I said, you know what? 2 great reviews in 2 years. I think we need to do a title change.
Ooh. Yeah. I celebrate you in that because number one, it's not easy. Number two, we probably, and if you're anything like me, and I did something very similar, I remember after I said it, I thought, oh, wait a minute. What if I get shot down? But I knew that that was the right thing to say
Yeah,
because if my dad used to say, if you don't toot your own horns, who will, right?
exactly. And it's so
Yeah.
hard for us to do that. Yeah. So when I
Yeah.
said it, I didn't say promotion. I said a
Mhm.
title
A
change.
title change.
And then they were like, well, what do you think the title should be? And I said, senior VP of this and that. And they're
Mhm.
like, huh, that fits.
That fits. Amazing. So tell me a little bit about the organization that you're with. How did you land at this organization and what was the career path that you took to getting here?
My career path was very windy. Um, Listening to my intuition always in terms of what I would like to do, like what the next version of
Mhm.
me is going to be. What is
Ooh.
Natalie? Like, I
Mhm.
feel like I'm on Natalie 7.0 right now.
Oh, I love that. I call myself Julie 2.0, but I'm probably in 2.08.
And I'm sure, like,
Yeah.
for me, it's little steps. Oh,
Mhm.
now it's the next version.
That's so
So,
good. That's so good. I love it. I love it. So
yeah,
tell
but
me more.
yeah, so I started as a high school teacher
Mhm.
and teaching chemistry and biology. And I went into teaching because I love science. And then
Mhm.
when I was in teaching, I was like, you know what? I love the science more than the kids. And
Mm.
I feel like, don't get me wrong, I love the kids, but I love the science.
Mhm.
And so that brought me back to going into graduate school,
Mhm.
which was a story in itself because I went into graduate school with a bachelor's degree, and all my other classmates had master's degrees
Mhm.
already, and
Wow.
we were all graded on a grade point average. So I had to work hard
Mm.
to stay within the program. But then after I was done, I was like, I don't want to be at the bench and I
Mhm.
don't want to. And also, I was a little discouraged because after 7 years of a PhD, I was making less money than I did as a teacher
Yeah, I've
7 years
heard a lot of that.
prior.
I've heard a lot of people be in the same boat. So yeah, it is discouraging. I think that at
Yeah.
times, and even with teaching, right? I know a lot of individuals that have a master's or 60 credits beyond a master's, and still your effort and your knowledge is not necessarily being awarded and rewarded for all the hard work that you've done. So I know that that's a very difficult thing.
Yeah. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. And so I had to face up to it
Yeah.
and sit down and have a discussion with me, myself, and I. Like, what is it that you would love to do?
I
What
love
would
that.
make you happy?
Mhm.
And I'm a competitive person. I play tennis. I thought, you know what? I really love competition. What if I had a
Mm.
job
Uh-huh.
that allowed me to compete
Mm.
and use my science knowledge and talk to people and teach all at the same
Mhm.
time?
Okay.
So that is what led me into sales. So
Mhm.
I
Okay.
went into a sales and I worked for a biomedical company
Mhm.
where we were selling tools that
Okay.
other researchers can use to do their research. And then as I was doing that, I figured out that I loved custom products. I loved also things that were not in a box. So
Mhm.
that led me to going into diagnostic sales.
Okay.
From there, I went up the chain of command within a large company.
Mhm.
But it was a large company. And I thought to myself, I really would like to be in a smaller company that from the ground up And in that situation, while I was in the large company, I networked with a lot of different people. There was one gentleman that I networked with who started his own company, kept in touch with him through the years. And as we were, always checking in, how's it going? He eventually reached out to me and said, "Hey, I think I need you."
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so then I joined the smaller company, and now we're growing that. And I've been here for quite some time.
Amazing. I think that sometimes, it really means that for us to step to the next level, we have to really do some analysis. And I think that a lot of us, and I've done it, I think that for a lot of us, we've sort of accepted the status quo. And we don't see, well, how can I? And we believe that there's no way for us to take a different path or really pursue something else. And that's what sometimes, whether we're entrepreneurs or whether we are in a career, we end up being stuck. Do you see that a lot?
Yeah. I mean, even with me, it was like the times when I've made all these different transitions, and the times when I got stuck is when I was paying attention to the how
Oh, so
instead
true.
of the what.
Yeah.
Like, how would I do that? And that is like, I was expecting myself to have like this perfect step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And really, you don't need to know all that steps. All you need to know is the vision of what you need to do and figure out the next 2 steps.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for me, and I look in both my career and my entrepreneur journey, I remind myself I'll figure it out. Because I think that when we get caught up in, I need to know the steps and being perfect about doing the steps, it's really when we get stuck and not grow and not get to, the next level. We allow that perfectionism to be a stumbling block in our journey.
Yeah. I mean, like even within the larger company, I got promoted or moved over from a hospital sales director to the national director of training. And at that point in time, I was talking to the VP, and I said, if we were to take the training level to the next level, we would make it a blended learning so that we optimize our time.
Yeah.
The sales reps optimize their time in the car. We optimize our time with them. And this is but what I would do, the vision. I didn't realize that the director of training had actually turned in his retirement letter at the time when I had this conversation. I just followed my gut. And before you knew it, it's like the next 2 days later, they were offering me a position, position. So it was the vision that was selling them, not how I achieve the vision.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that for so many of us, right? And this is something that I've noticed. You're talking about how you needed to stick to the vision. You needed to know maybe the first 2 steps. But a lot of people assume that we have it together, that we know the path, that we're already perfect at it, and that there's no stumbling in how we're moving forward. But I know that that's not necessarily the case. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so definitely there's going to be stumbles. It's really interesting. The position that I'm in now, I get to interact with people that have owned their own companies, several companies over.
Yeah.
And I get to have these in-depth conversations like, oh my God, I screwed up here. I really screwed up here. And this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Because I screwed up. In their conversation with me, and I'm so blessed that they're so like transparent and they trust me with this information.
Yeah.
They're like, I feel that way all the time. Like, look, I screwed up here, I screwed up there, and this is how I feel. In my mind, I'm like, my God, I didn't realize you were feeling that, because when I look at you, you don't look like you feel that way.
Absolutely.
And it taught me like, hey, get over the failure, like get over it.
Yeah.
It's just part of the process.
Yeah, that's the biggest lesson. I was actually featured in a magazine article about a couple months ago. And then all of a sudden, I was asked this question several times over in different podcasts that I was in. And the question is, what is the one thing you would tell your younger self? And that exactly is it. I was so fearful of failure. And not only did I avoid it, but I didn't want people to know that I had failed or that I had missed the mark, because I felt that really defined me in a negative light. And yet throughout my career, I began to see that failure was necessary for the success. Failure was like that key ingredient that we can't leave out if we're making this beautiful cake of our lives, right? And once I started to shift my perspective on failure and started to embrace it as that way that we can learn, as the way that we can get to the next level, right? Because if I didn't have the failures here, I wouldn't be prepared enough to get to the next level. And I think that that's one of the things that a lot of people still struggle with.
And I'm also like right now in my journey, really trying to pay attention to my energy. And my energy does come from my thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I told you earlier that I play tennis. One of the things that it's great playing tennis, especially with a doubles partner. But one of the things I realized is that sometimes when I'm up against a competition or someone on the other side of the net and I'm intimidated by them, I start to shrink back.
Yes, absolutely. I get that because I play tennis as well. I haven't played in a while, but yes, if I felt I was playing against a very good opponent, I definitely did not perform as well because my mindset already was, oh, they're better than I am, as opposed to saying, let me see what I can do.
And then you shrink back. And so I started to do this thing. I started to think, okay, what would next year's Natalie do in this situation? She's got a year's more of practice.
Yeah.
Practice doing the things that she has been taught. She's more brave. She's approaching the net and doing this or that a lot better. Okay, let's have Natalie 2025 come into this body right now. And the next thing I feel, as far as my energy is concerned, I'm standing up higher. I'm like, my eyes are like squinted a little because I'm like, bring it on, baby. I want that ball. And sure enough, and she's getting to the net and she's cutting things off. She's doing all of those things and she's doing it well. And then all of a sudden, like I'm the one that people are intimidated with. And I'm starting to think like that energy like goes ahead of me. And so I'm thinking about the same thing in terms of from a business perspective. So yes, I work for a corporate environment, but I'm also doing these things on the side because I'm multi-passionate. And it's like, okay, what is next year's Natalie's doing? Like she has all these successes behind her. She has all of these things and that energy, bringing that energy in. And then I don't pay as much attention to the failures because those failures are behind me. I learned from them. And I'm looking ahead to that vision.
One of my favorite concepts, you just talked about one of my most favorite concepts. I think that in the times that I've been the most successful in my life and achieved the things that I wanted to, is I did leverage the power of future self. And many people, they shy away from that because they're thinking, oh, I need to learn from my mistakes. And they really focus on the past. And then they get stuck with, what am I doing? I can't do it. And they feel, of course, that like we talked about, trying to be perfect or feeling that imposter syndrome. And yet, if we really look at the wisdom of the person that achieved already what we want, and we begin to ask the right questions. Well, how did that person show up? I remember that was the thing from when I started my business. And of course, I went from a corporate career, incredibly successful, to all of a sudden square one. And one of my biggest goals was to replace my corporate salary. And I remember when I was not even bringing $1 in, and my husband's like, okay, is this going to work? And I'm like, yes, it is. But I kept thinking, like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I need to go back to a corporate job. And I kept thinking, well, wait a minute. I ran a very successful corporate career. I was able to earn a lot of money for this company and multi-million dollars, and I did it. But if that person took those skills and they applied them to entrepreneurship, what did that Julie lady do to make it happen? And then I started to really embrace the type of schedule that I saw that person having. I started to embrace the activities that that person was doing. And that really was a big shift for me. And I think that a lot of people, again, do not leverage the future self as much as they should or can do to be able to move to the next level in life.
And I like that because part of it is where I can get stuck is, well, that person would do this and this and this and this. Well, I freaking don't have time for all that. And so that is another thing. And it's again, the energy, like bringing on the energy. What would it look like to make that look easy or be easy?
How can it be easy? Yeah.
And it's like paying attention to energy, the feeling of it, the feeling of the success. And all of a sudden, like I get this done and that done. I was like, wow, that only took me like 3 minutes, or at least it felt that way.
Yeah. Well, we over catastrophize and over exaggerate what we think something is going to take. Like I think at times I have a hard time starting certain tasks because I think, oh, it's going to take me a whole day. And I don't know, maybe I need to set aside a couple of hours. I don't have a couple of hours now. And then I go back and I say, Julie, just do it for 2 minutes and see how far you get.
Yeah.
And at times I am done before I even finish, whatever time I have allotted. And I realize that my brain is always making it a bigger task than it really should be. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest lessons, I think, that even whether we're in a career or in entrepreneurship is really questioning what our brain is trying to tell us. Because again, our brain is doing what it does, trying to keep us safe. And that seems like a daunting task. It's going to take you forever. Why start now?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder, in your line of work, and again, you are working with so many different people. What would you say is one of the things that intimidates people the most?
I think I want to say doing a lot in a short period of time. I think we tend to underestimate what we can do and overestimate, going back to the discussion we just had, the time that it takes.
Yeah. I think that that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't even begin in anything that they want to do, because they get caught in the logistics, the prepping, the what ifs, as opposed to just being curious about what they can do. And having that curiosity.
So like when you're dreaming of what it is that you want to do, you have to let go of the how. Let go of the how.
Yeah.
And I do have like a master group that I'm involved with, and we talk about, okay, what it is that we're doing, and then we catch ourselves in the how of it. It's like relax on the how. It will reveal itself.
Yeah. If you had to, like I talked about that question, Natalie, if you had to give yourself advice as you were beginning your career path, what is the advice or the wisdom that you would share?
I think I'm thinking back to when I first started writing my book. The biggest thing that I worried about is, will anybody listen to you? Who are you to be writing this book? Will anybody believe that you have authority? You're not a researcher in women's education. Yeah. You're not a researcher in women in the corporate or in entrepreneurship. Why should they listen to you?
Yeah, I hear that.
it is to let go of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Letting go of that. And I think that again, I forget the specific quote, but we cannot measure ourselves by the tape measure, I guess, that somebody else uses for themselves, because it's not a one size fits all.
Mhm.
We're all very unique individuals with unique backgrounds and experiences. And that's one of the things that we really need to make sure that we remind ourselves of.
Right, exactly. And those were things that were like holding me back as I was writing
Mhm.
my book. Like I would be delayed. Like I have writer's cramp.
Mm.
I can't write anything. And so I finally had to again step back. And
Yeah.
you talk about your older self and say, okay, what would my older self say to me?
Mm-hmm.
And they would say, look, you are an expert. Because I was writing a book about my mom and how my mom went from being a stay-at-home mom to a physician. She entered medical school at the age of 31 with
Wow.
3
Amazing.
kids,
Wow.
teenagers. And we didn't,
Amazing.
it was an amazing journey.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else took that journey with your mother.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
else took the learnings from that journey from
Mm-hmm.
your mother.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are the perfect person to write this book.
Yeah, I think that that's exactly it, right? All of our, and I just had someone on the show and we talked about how we each have a PhD when it comes to our life. We are the experts. We've been there. We've accumulated all these experiences and knowledge and understanding that nobody else has. And that really uniquely qualifies us to do what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And so it's like when I embraced that and I
Mhm.
embraced what is my intent here? What is it that I'm
Mhm.
trying to do for people with this? And I was like, I just want to give the average woman a roadmap as to
Mhm.
how to take herself from one level to the next, how
Mm.
to transition from one level to the next, a step by step by step
Yeah.
guide as to how to do that.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
It is. And I think, we need to really be able to, number one, remember that our mindset is going to be a great place to start as well. And this is where most of us struggle because school doesn't teach us, right, to kind of overcome some of these limiting beliefs. If anything, they kind of ingrain them in us.
Yeah.
How can we start to rewrite that for ourselves and
Yeah.
overcome? And what are some empowering things that we can do to overcome limiting beliefs?
Yeah. So basically, in the book, I do talk about 5 limiting beliefs that
Mhm.
women tend to have
Uh-huh.
specifically. And one of them is not dreaming big enough.
Mm. Yeah.
That is number one.
Mhm.
Another is giving, then resenting.
Oh, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I've fallen into that trap
Oh,
because
yeah.
I will say, okay, I'll do it. I'll volunteer. I'll give. And then all of a sudden I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I hate that. And I beat myself up or I'm mad at the people that I said I would do things for because they asked me. And yet I am the one who had the power to say no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what in the book we talk about the 5
Mhm.
different mindsets that hold us
Mhm.
back
Okay.
and how to overcome that. So we talk about our limiting beliefs. That's number
Mhm.
1. And it's so hard to understand what our limiting beliefs are
Yeah.
because, we don't really question it.
Right.
But it is important to understand, like, if you have this dream of getting your business to the next level, and then yet you're feeling this like emotional charge,
Mm.
not charge of an excitement. It's
Yeah.
really asking yourself, well, what evidence do I have that I can do it?
Mm. Yeah.
What have I done in the past that shows that I can do it? What
Mhm.
have other people done that
Yeah.
shows that they can do it?
Mhm.
And when you start to list out the evidence, you feel like, wait, there's plenty of evidence that I can do this.
Yeah. I love that. Natalie, I make my clients create an evidence book because we forget. We forget. We forget what we're capable of doing. One of the things that I have in my little evidence book, and this may not be necessarily related to anything of the things that I do, but when I was, let me think, I was maybe 23, 24. I went on this team building activity with I worked at a church, and we took all of our volunteers and leaders to this a team building activity and a ropes course. And this is going back, I don't know, like 30 years now. And I remember I'm not necessarily afraid of heights, but definitely, there's some things that I'm more challenged at. Now, there was a particular exercise that we had to climb up this telephone pole on a ladder. And then when we got halfway through the pole, then there were spokes in the pole, and then you would kind of have to climb. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do the ladder because I don't think I have enough upper body strength to pull myself on the spokes. But I got to the end of the ladder and I thought, that wasn't that hard. Maybe I can try the first one. And I went up the couple of spokes. And then I'm like, well, I think I can go faster. Now, mind you, of course, I am harnessed in, but my brain is still like, I'm going to be careful because, I don't want to fall off the pole. And I kept going. And then when I got to the very top, there was a little 4x4 platform that you are supposed to pull yourself up onto. And then I started to come down. But my friends, they wanted to push me out of my comfort zone, and they took the ladder away and they said, keep going. And I thought, no, wait a minute, bring the ladder back. And I said, all right, I'll try. I'll see if I can do it. So I get to the top of the pole again and I start to pull myself up. And of course, as I'm pulling myself up, I feel the pole kind of swaying a little bit. And then, of course, I feel the harness pulling me back. And I thought, ooh, and of course, my brain is like, you're going to die. You're dead. Right. And I eventually knelt on the pole, took a couple breaths, and it took me a while to actually stand on the pole. Once I was standing on the pole, really the purpose is, and I was facing the wrong way at this point. The point is you're supposed to be facing in the right direction. And then there's a trapeze in front of the pole. And you're supposed to leap from the pole to the trapeze and hold on. And then they bring you down. But of course, I was facing the wrong direction and I could see planes going down and I knew that I was up and I was crying because it was incredibly scary, even though I couldn't rationalize, right, that I was going to be okay, that this is an exercise, that there was no way they were going to let me die, that people had been doing this all morning. And eventually I had to walk myself slowly to kind of turn in the right direction. And I turned in the right direction and I saw the trapeze and I said, okay, I'm here. Just let me down. And they said, no, jump. And I thought, what? No, I can't do that. I can't do that. But again, with the encouragement of others and then seeing, okay, well, I made it this far. I guess I got to go. And also, and here's the thing where people think, like we think courage comes automatically, but courage is that thing that we have to push through in the middle of the fear. And I haven't felt that scared since. But I remember my knees, right, were knocking and I'm shaking. And eventually I did jump and I grabbed onto the trapeze. And because I'd been sweating, my hands were really wet and they slid right down. But they caught me. I was in the harness. Now, that experience from a 24-year-old to now is still that evidence that tells me in the face of fear, in the face of the unknown, in the face of what my brain is telling me is not going to be able to work out well for me, keep going one step at a time and you figure it out. And even if you miss the mark or kind of, there is someone who's there to catch you, but you also have the benefit of knowing that you had the courage to push forward. And I think that that's one of the biggest evidence that I have in my personal evidence book that I'm capable, even if that doesn't necessarily apply to anything else. And when I was in my corporate career, that was something that helped me along the way. Remember, like, okay, I'm badass. I did that. And when I started my entrepreneur journey, the same thing. I didn't know what was next, or I was scared of the next thing, but I kept going and I made it work. And I think that when we create that evidence, even if it's not related to what we're doing, but we have it in front of us, it can help us have that knowledge that I've done something scary in the past and I've survived.
Yeah. And you also had
Yeah.
people encouraging you as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So in my book, I talk about the information that you should be keeping a brag book,
Ooh, I love that. Ooh,
which
so
is
good.
sort of like the
Yeah.
evidence in the sense that your brag book are all the positive things, so that when you're down, you can look at your brag book, remember when you were up, have that energy when you're up. And then the other thing we talk about is creating a bunch of stories where you've done something hard with a team. And I show, because of my research, I show like how you do a retrospective analysis of how great you are, and looking at what the situation was, what you had to work with, and what the results were.
Yeah.
So that when you're going for that interview, be it a transition to a different position where you didn't have that experience, because, you know, we could be going from a situation where they require the experience to get the job, but you don't have the job and you can't get the experience unless you have the job. So let's show the transferable skills. And so how do you build that little study on yourself to show those transferable skills?
So good. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and of course we've heard the statistic, right? That most men are not necessarily qualified, but they'll apply for the position. A woman is more qualified and they won't. But I think that this idea of the brag book, this idea of knowing that, you know, I haven't done that perhaps the job requires, but I've done this and I can transfer that skill to that. I think that that's the one thing that we need to learn how to do.
Yeah. So I was super proud. I got a chance to speak at the University of Florida, and I was able to speak to like 150 women. And one of the ladies that was in the audience had my book right there, and she underlined, hearted a bunch of things. And unfortunately, I wasn't wearing my glasses. And she comes up to me and she goes, "I want you to sign my book, and I want you to sign it right here on this page."
Okay.
And I'm like, "Okay, I don't have my glasses, so you're going to have to tell me, what does this page say?" And so she shared with me about how you have to stand up for yourself, and you have to be your own cheerleader, and you have to state what it is that makes you special, because you are the super cheerleader for yourself.
Yeah.
And she said that spoke volumes to me. And then afterwards she said, "This is my blueprint for getting to the position I want." And I'm like, yes, mission accomplished.
Mission
I went
accomplished.
home so happy.
Yeah, that is an amazing concept. And I think that whether we're in a career or whether we are in this entrepreneurial journey, we have to be that first cheerleader. Like, I know my husband is always cheering me on, but ultimately I'm the one who has to believe in myself, and not because I'm the one who will motivate myself. Nobody can tell you do this. Sure, they can encourage you or they can threaten you to do it, right? But it really has to come from within you.
And all those successes, you have to soak it in. And I think imposter syndrome stops us from soaking it in. Like, soak it in, bring it in.
Bring it in. We've been told, though, right? And I think that this is the point we don't soak in, and we have that imposter syndrome, is we've been told, oh, but, you know, good girls don't brag, or good girls, you know, it's so ridiculous, right? Like, here's a guy, my husband, he edits this, so he'll listen, but it's fine. I'm going to say this. Last night we had dinner. And after dinner, I was just kind of sitting there. I'm like, oh, I got to go clean the kitchen, put the things away. And then he got the dishes. He cleaned up the kitchen without me asking. And I mean, he's very good about contributing, but typically I have to prompt or ask. But no, he did that. And then he came back, he came into the living room and he sat down. He's like, go me, look at me cleaning the kitchen. And I thought, really, dude? Like, here's once in a blue moon, you do it without prompting. And it's like, go me. And I'm thinking, I go about my day. I pick up the laundry. I load the dishwasher. I clean the dogs. I run a business. And I forget to tell me, go me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that that's one of the practices that we need to definitely get to, where we are saying, go me. And the more that we say that, the imposter syndrome will be less and less. I mean, we're never going to get rid of it 100%, but it will definitely change. Tell me about your book, Natalie.
So my book is called Unsealing You at Any Age. And the ceiling is about the ceiling above your head. So it's about taking yourself to that next level. I love that title. And so I modeled it after my mother. As I shared before, she went into medical school when she was 31. There at that time, only maybe 5 to 10% of the class were women, and they were young women, not older women like her. She was the oldest woman to get into the class. My brother, sister, and I were in our teens, college bound.
Right.
There were plenty of reasons for her to tell herself, I cannot do this. There's lots of reasons, but she did it anyway. I wasn't into my 40s until I really thought about the lesson I learned from what she did. So what I did was I outlined everything from like when my mom was telling her mom that she was going to medical school.
Wow.
I went with my mom to hear this announcement and how it was going to be received. And her mother told her, are you crazy? What the hell do you, oh, sorry for swearing.
No, yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
What are you
could do
doing?
A little potty mouth here too.
Okay. What is it you think you're doing? You're getting older, not younger. You're getting dumber as you get older.
Wow.
Can you imagine hearing that? And my mom was so good. Of course, myself, I'm thinking I could use that line.
Right.
As a teenager, but my mom asked me to go wait in the car. Her mother never really got over it. Always like, what are you doing? This is not the right thing. But my mom pursued the dream anyway.
Wow.
And so through the book, I talk about her journey of going into medical school and how we can take those same exact steps to get to a higher level. And the thing that is about it is that, in my talks, I show a picture of my grandmother and she's like this, like her smile is not quite a smile. It's got like a downward thing, but yet it's her smile. That was a big smile for her. And it doesn't look like it to other people, but I'm like, believe me, that's her smile. She was so proud of my mom. And so I learned how, like, when other people are saying you can't do it, but you know that you can, yourself, you have embraced everything that we talked about, how it really, you get so proud of yourself, but you also teach others to follow their dreams. Right. So you going after yours helps others. It sends like a ripple effect. Yeah. So the book is all about those steps that you take, and it's very, very crystal about, okay, do this, then do that, then do this. And so I hope that people learn and go for it as a result.
Well, I think that this is, one of the most incredible things that we can do is teach others how to respect us, how to treat us. And that is one of the things that at times we don't even know where to begin. But I love the example of your mom, and she had a goal. She had a dream in mind, and she could have allowed herself to be derailed. But what she did is not only she redefined what was possible for her, but she showed her mom, who maybe had not seen the evidence for herself, that was possible, that it can, and that you can move forward to that next step.
And she treated her mother with respect the whole way.
Mhm.
I never saw
Yeah.
my mom lash out at her mom. She was just like, I hear what you're
Mhm.
saying. I understand that it can be scary.
Mhm.
This is the direction we're going to go. Don't worry. Everything will be
Yeah.
fine.
Mhm. Well, I love that. And I think that this is a wonderful testimony that your mom again pursued, and she instilled in you the ability to see what was possible. And you continue to not only pursue some great things, you said, hey, I need a new title, right?
Yeah.
You advocated for yourself.
Yeah.
And now people that are listening to this will see what is possible for them as well. So you're not being held back and teaching others not to be held back either. Amazing.
Yay.
Amazing. I love it. Tell me about, I believe, did I see that you have a podcast coming out or a radio
Yes.
show? Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So it is going to be, my upcoming podcast is called Unsealing You with Natalie Luke. And what I am going to be doing is through a series of different topics, be exploring different things, different ideas from various angles. So the first series of podcasts is all about, are women ambitious?
Ooh, good. I have to say, ambition, when put in the same sentence with women, it's not necessarily seen in a positive light, although I think it should be.
Mhm.
So, oh, good. I can't wait to
Yeah.
listen. Now, when is the podcast dropping?
I am working on it now. So my goal
Okay.
is to have it drop in January. Right now,
Amazing.
what I'm doing is I'm asking women to just send me their thoughts, either
Mhm.
by email or by a voice. Just
Mhm.
record something on
Yep.
your phone and email it to me and tell me, what are your thoughts about ambition? Like you
Mm.
said, does it belong in the same sentence with a woman? Are
Mhm.
women ambitious? Do they have to handle their ambition,
Yeah.
hide their
Mm.
ambition?
So good. Oh my gosh. So I want to encourage. So you should go to, it's called Speak Pike,
Okay.
and it is a free website. And you can set up your Natalie Look account or your podcast account, and you can have people, you can send the link to people and they can record a message there, and then you can
Oh,
download everything. So it's a
cool.
great little resource for podcasters. So
Okay. Thank you for
yeah,
that.
you're welcome. You're welcome. It's so good. But yeah, hearing the voices of the people that are coming alongside of you for this journey, it's wonderful because you know what your audience is thinking, and it helps to really define what you're going to be putting out. So I love it. Amazing. So I can't wait to listen. January, yay!
Yeah, I'd love to have you on it as
Oh,
well.
thank you. I'd love to. And yeah, and anything that we can do to support you. You know, we love podcasters here. So
Yeah.
love. Tell me, where can people find you? Our time has flown by. I could speak to you another hour, but yeah,
Fun.
where can people find you? Where can I have the link for Amazon where people can go
Mhm.
buy the book,
Mhm.
but where else are you hanging out online?
So I am hanging out at LinkedIn. So
Mhm.
you can find me at I'm LinkedIn Natalie Luke PhD. So
Mhm.
you can find me there. Also I have a website called Unsealing You, and I have
Great.
a place where people can write a note to me.
Amazing. Well, we have all that information for you, my friends, in the show notes. So I'm going to make sure that you can connect with Natalie, go and check out her book. And I love that you're going to get a lot of resources to help you step forward bravely into confidence and really meet the future you that is meant to for you to become. So I'm really excited. The other thing I want to encourage you, the listener, is go and connect with Natalie. Tell her what you loved about this. You can also send her a message about this ambition and how does
Yeah.
it fit into your conversation about yourself and women. So please do so. This is really important that we not only listen passively, but act. positively so that we can go and find who we are meant to be. And again, it happens only with action. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. Natalie Luke, thank you for being here. I can't wait to see what amazing things you continue to do in this world. And I appreciate you. So people, don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, my friends.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Casa de Confidence. We thank you for listening, and if you want more, go to casadeconfidencepod.com. Check Julie out on her socials as Julie DeLucca-Collins. And you can also check out her website at goconfidentlycoaching.com. Have a great week, and don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams.
Hi, everybody. I know that sometimes we get very lonely in this entrepreneur journey, and I want to invite you to join us into our limited time only Purposeful You Mastermind. For many of us entrepreneurs, we believe that we can do it all, but the reality is that doing it alone only creates a lot of overwhelm. So join us at the Purposeful You Mastermind. You can find out more information by going to bit.ly/Julie's Mastermind. This is going to be the place where you are able to then unlock your full potential and achieve long-term success for your business. Push you behind your current limits, expand your connections, discover new ideas, and implement them with confidence. You're going to get the support in all aspects and transforming you to the six-figure business you've been looking for. Pause and get off the hamster wheel if you've been spinning around. This is a time where you can get that support from like-minded entrepreneurs that are here to join you in your journey. Together, we can challenge the assumptions and land the speaking engagements and opportunities we want to grow our business and make an impact in the lives of people. See you then. Remember, you can find the mastermind at bit.ly, Julie's Mastermind.